Welcome to Budget Breakers. I'm here to help the world learn more about money, so make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Let's dive in. Confession number 1. Pay off student loans and regular payments or lump sum. I have $21,000 in federal student loans at 4.07%. I have the exact payoff amount earmarked for this in a high-yield savings account earning 4.35%. Will it benefit me to make payments rather than just paying all off at once, since I make slightly more on the interest in the high-yield savings account? Well, you're earning 4.35 on the high-yield savings account and 4.07 is the interest rate on the student loans. Really, it's negligible here if you don't even account for taxes. But in the high-yield savings account, you're also going to be paying taxes on the interest that's earned. So even though it's 0.3% higher, you're going to have to pay normal income taxes on the high-yield savings account interest. So no, do not try to play this game of a higher high-yield savings account interest rate than the student loans. Pay it all off. Be done with it. You will feel so much better being debt-free. Confession number 2. Should I just pay it all off at once or make payments? I make $70,000. My wife is working part-time making $30,000, and we have $110,000 in savings. The only large expense we have is our rent, which is $700, and groceries, which is about $1,500 a month. I should be making $105,000 in 2 years. My wife might start working full-time in the future as well. I have $25,000 in student loan debt, and we need a new car. Looking to get something $40,000 or less. So my question is, should we just pay off all our debt or should we make payments? You got $110,000 in savings. You can pay the student loan debt off tomorrow, be debt-free, and buy a car in cash. You should not finance a car. You should not try to make minimum payments on the student loans. Wipe that away, be done with it. And car, pay cash for it. The best car is a car that's paid for cash. Buying a $40,000 car when you're making about $100,000 a year gross income, that is definitely on the steep side. So I would be looking at $20,000 options, but pay cash for it, no doubt. Do not have any monthly payments. Confession number 3, credit card debt help. Should I cash out $11,000 in mutual funds to pay off some credit card debt? My wife and I are about $25,000 in debt to credit cards, and it's starting to feel like we aren't making a dent. On just one of our cards, it has $11,000 on the balance, and the minimum payment is $365. The interest per month on it is $270. I could essentially pay off one card with my mutual funds to help the snowball roll, but I'm also scared of the tax implications. We recently had a child earlier this year, so we'll get an exemption on our taxes next year too. So don't worry about the taxes on the mutual funds. What you need to do is account for the tax implications you're going to have. So if your gain on that is $5,000 and it's a long-term capital gain, you owe about 15% of the capital gain taxes to the federal government plus state taxes if there's any. So we'll say 20%. So if you have a $5,000 gain, you're going to owe $1,000. So put that $1,000 away in a high-yield savings account for taxes. But you're not going to outpace credit card debt interest, which is sitting at 25, 29, somewhere in that range percent with index funds. No investment out there is going to beat credit card debt. So yes, sell the stocks and account for capital gain taxes with it and pay off the credit card debt. That will get rid of $365 a month in payments. Start using that to pay off all the other debts immediately. Confession number 4, student loan debt help. How to allocate the rest of my money after student loan debt. I'm a recent 22-year-old grad with a $85,000 job starting December. My private loans will begin repayment in early February as follows: $30,000 at 10%, $23,000 at 8.6%, $26,000 at 10.5%, $32,000 at 9.375%. I definitely plan on refinancing at some point. I'm in a fortunate position where I can stay with my parents and use a car, so I don't have to pay for those immediately. I calculated and double-checked with an online calculator that I can aggressively tackle my loans, pay them off in 3 years if I stick to $3,586 a month, which is about $43,000 a year. First, is this a reasonable plan? I expect my annual take-home to be about $60,000, about $5,000 a month. This is reasonable. How should I allocate my remaining $17,000? I only have about $1,500 in personal savings from old part-time jobs. I haven't started investing yet, but I feel like I should as soon as possible. I'd also like to get my own car reasonably quickly so I don't feel like I'm taking away something from my parents. Of course, I'd go for something affordable, definitely used. Is this something I should prioritize after maybe a year? It would help with my credit score too, since I'd want to be able to build that as well. Any advice on how to allocate $17,000 between personal savings, investing, and possible car payments? First, please do not even think about investing if you have interest rates of 10% on your student loans, 9 and 10%. There is no reason to invest if the average return of the S&P 500 is 10% in the last 70 years and you have student loans at 10%, you are playing a dangerous game because there's no guarantee that the stock market will return 10% in the future. So there's risk allocated towards that. You should not try to outpace 10% interest rates in any situation. So every single dollar should be going towards paying the student loans off. Since you're at home and you have the ability to not have housing payments, to not have car payments using your parents' car. Take full advantage of that. Every single dollar going towards these loans. As far as a car payment goes, no, please do not get a car payment either. Start saving up money as well once you get these student loans paid off to buy a car cash, even if it's a beater for $5,000 or $10,000, but be throwing every single dollar towards these 10% student rate loans. Confession number 5, job help. My savings are dwindling. I hate my job. I'm slowly suffocating. I'm a single income earner with 2 kids and a wife, and I make a decent living at $85,000 a year. But over the past year or so, my normal bills have gotten out of control, and my emergency savings is also slowly drying up. I estimate I'll be out of savings and completely in credit card debt in 6 months. I've cut out just about every luxury I can, with a small exceptions for my sanity. I'm drinking more alcohol these days. I hate my job, but I can't leave because I can't find anything comparable to the money I make now. I've applied to hundreds of jobs and only landed a handful of phone interviews. I'm trapped under a mortgage, raising a family with seemingly no help. I want to sell everything and move to a lower cost of living state before I lose the opportunity, but my wife doesn't want to leave for family. I've expressed my concerns with her, but she doesn't seem to register with them. My parents moved in with us and sold their house while they looked for a downsized house, but they're also realizing they can't afford anything anymore, so they're stuck with us. I need help. I don't know what to do. If I give up, my whole family falls apart. First, you need to have a conversation with your entire family. It sounds like you're one person trying to keep your family afloat, keep your parents afloat, and that is just suffocating you right now. You're one person trying to support at least 6 people, and that's so unsustainable. If your parents are living with you and they don't have any housing payments, have a conversation with them. What can they pitch in? Is it $500 a month? Is it $1,000 a month? What is that they can pitch in for housing, for food, and other necessities? So have your parents, if there are 2 people in the house, have them pay a third of the bills. Have them pay a certain percentage of the mortgage or of housing expenses or food, whatever it is. Your children are in school, have a conversation with your wife. What does it look like if she goes a part-time job working a couple hours a day while the kids are in school? It's time for you to have an open conversation with your family. Tell them how you feel, how this is scaring you, but you have at least 6 months runway, you said right now. So the time is to take action now and start figuring out a plan, start having those conversations with your family about what can they allocate towards this, what can they help with. Can your wife get a part-time job to help support as well? But both those things will help prop you up and find you in a better financial situation. And please, alcohol does not help at all in this situation. You need to be exercising. You need to be taking care of yourself mentally and physically. And alcohol will do the opposite of that. Confession number 6, debt help. Is this too much debt? I'm struggling to come to terms with the amount of debt my fiance has, but I don't know if it's a normal amount. He's 26 years old and makes around $70,000 before bonuses. Last time I checked, his credit card debt was around $12,000 to $17,000. This also doesn't include the 2 car notes. We currently rent, so the mortgage isn't an issue. His credit isn't great. Mine is decent. I make less than he does, but my credit card debt is maybe $3,000. No car notes, just maybe $2,000 in back taxes owed. I don't pay as many bills as he does, so I save every month as well. But because he has more debt and bills, he doesn't save, so our only savings come from my $1,500 I stow away. By the end of this year, I should have about $35,000 saved, but I feel as if that's not enough savings for 2 married people. Please help me get some perspective so I don't keep nagging him about this. Well, first, you need to have a conversation with your fiance. With y'all getting married, you need to be on the same plan as each other about money. Money is one of the largest causes of divorce in America. So if you're going into marriage and you don't have your finances in order, it's going to cause stress from one or the other. You're stressed about his finances right now. No, $12,000 to $17,000 worth of credit card debt is not normal. Sure, that's normal in America because America is full of car payments, of credit card debt, of student loans, but that's not what you want for your family. That's not what you want for your financial future. So you need to figure out what is your plan with your fiance in terms of finances moving forward. When you get married, you become a team. You become one team working together against common goals. So in my opinion, that credit card debt is just as much your responsibility once you get married as it is his. So you need to have a conversation with him as, hey, we need to get this paid off before we get married, or this is our plan to get out of debt over the next 12 months together. But he should not have 2 car loans if he has this much debt. Sell one of the cars, pay off that loan, and keep the other car and start working towards paying the other loan off. You have to sit down and start budgeting your money together, start figuring out what is your plan moving forward. But you need to get your money straight too. You got $3,000 worth of credit card debt and $2,000 in back taxes owed. So you need to get your finances in order and help him get his in order as well and get on the same team, start working together and get out of debt together. Confession number 7, car loan help. I was rejected for a car loan. Spouse and I wanted to buy a 2023 minivan. Our credit scores are 785 and 744. We make $150,000 a year. We have $30,000 saved for the down payment. We wanted to finance the rest, $25,000 for a 36-month loan. I was a bit surprised, but we got rejected for financing. Getting a 2023 minivan for $25,000 sounds like a steal to me at any point in the next 3 years. Is our credit really that bad? I'm considering cashing in the emergency ETFs and just buying it cash. That would leave us exposed if I lose my job. A few things here. One, emergency savings should not be stored in ETFs. That is not an emergency fund. Emergency fund should be in a high yield savings account that is not fluctuating with the market. So that's number one. Number two, you're not buying a minivan for $25,000. You're buying a minivan for $55,000 because you're putting $30,000 down plus $25,000 that you're financing. And third, don't go buy a $55,000 car if you can't afford to pay for it cash. Look at a used minivan that's $30,000. You have $30,000. You can get a nice car for $30,000. Do not go and finance a $55,000 car just because it's the nicest, newest car. If you can't pay cash for it, you shouldn't be buying a new car. If you can't pay cash for it, you shouldn't be buying a used car. If you can't pay cash for it, you shouldn't be buying it. So take that $30,000 cash that you have, use that to buy a car in cash. Do not touch emergency savings. Put your emergency savings in a high yield savings account, not in ETFs. Confession number 8, credit card debt help. Should I pay off all my credit card debt before loans kick in from PA school? I'm 29 and I graduated in 2022 from PA school and I have $17,000 in credit card debt. I was able to pay off $7,000. I currently have $19,000 saved. I live with my parents and want to eventually move out, and by next year, hopefully I will. However, I have this debt and student loans kick in October. I have $150,000 in student loans. What should be my first move? I created a budget, which is good, and that's how I was able to pay off $7,000, but I still have $10,000 worth of credit card debt. Should I pay it all off before my loans kick in? Should I pay off some of it? My monthly loan payments will start at $800 a month. My current income is $29.80 every 2 weeks after taxes and 401k. You've got $10,000 worth of credit card debt left, and you have $19,000 saved. You should not be keeping money in a high yield savings account or investments if you have credit card debt. So take that $19,000, pay off the credit card debt tomorrow, and that will leave you with $9,000 in your savings account. Now you need to start making a plan for your student loan payments. You got $150,000 worth of student loans, which is no small amount. And what is the interest rate on those? Start looking at it. If it's over 4%, 5%, I wouldn't be putting any extra money apart from the match into your 401k. And every dollar should be going towards the student loans. If it's at 4% and you want to invest the difference, in my opinion, I would rather just be debt-free and have that $800 back in my pocket that I could be investing or spending or whatever I want to do with it versus paying student loan payments for the rest of my life. I would make a plan to pay these student loans off as quickly as possible. You have a great income making about $72,000 a year after taxes, after your 401k. So start making a plan, budget your money, figure out a plan for these student loan payments, and get rid of the credit card debt tomorrow. Confession number 9, home buying help. I want to buy a house, but I don't know where to start. I'm 23 and I barely got a credit card 3 months ago. I started a new job earning $15 an hour. My husband's 28 and has been at his job for 8 years and earns $24 an hour. He co-signed for his sister 7 years ago, and for the past 7 years, they have not made on-time payments. I'm building my credit and got $5,000 in savings, but I need my husband as a co-signer since he makes more than me. I want to apply for the conventional loan, but do you think they'll accept him with a 620 credit score? My sister-in-law does not want to take his name off of her loan because she's scared of losing the house. Sister-in-law works full-time, but she also has medical debt of $2,000, which isn't so bad if you pay it each month, but she's not paid it off and uses it to go on vacation instead. Then she comes back and says she does not have any money, but then goes to the mall and drops $200 on purses. Then when she does not pay her bills, it shows my husband's credit score. I would like to take his name off the loan since he does not live with them anymore. It's ruined his credit, and I want to buy a house. He does seem scared of sitting down with his family about what to do to get his name off the loan. I don't even know where to start or what to do. Every time I bring up the conversation, he needs to separate himself from his family. He gets mad. Is it even possible for me to get a house by myself or with my husband? So first, sounds like there's a lot of things happening with your family, with your husband, and you need to sit down and have a conversation with him and have how his financial situation with his family is causing issues with your family and how that's scaring you, that's hurting your relationship, and how you want to improve your financial future and stability. So that's step one. You have to figure out the family issues first of getting him off the loan, and she's worried about losing it because, yes, if your husband co-signed, he's on the hook for the payments just as much as she is. When it comes to buying a house, no, you should not be buying a house if you make $15 an hour. That's $30,000 a year. So after taxes, we'll call it $25,000, $24,000. That is not enough money to be saving for when a pipe bursts, when you need a new roof, or something happens to the house. So please do not even think about buying a house right now. You need to be increasing your income. You need to figure out your financial situation with your family, and then understanding what kind of house can you and your husband afford, making combined about $78,000 a year. So you have income together combined, but that needs to be combined. If you are trying to buy a house yourself, it's not going to end well. You're not going to get approved for anything making $15 an hour, and you're also not going to have anything saved for when stuff goes wrong. Figure out the family situation first with your husband. He needs to grow up and have a conversation with his family because it's hurting his relationship with you. It's hurting his relationship with his family. And that needs to be solved first and foremost. 2, buying a house. You and your husband need to be on the same page. You need to figure out what kind of house can you actually afford, but you need to be saving up a lot more money before you go and buy a house. If you only have $5,000 in savings, you don't have enough for a down payment. You don't have enough for when expenses come up or rise because things will break in the house. So please do not worry about buying a house right now. You need to work on increasing your income, saving money, and fixing this family situation. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining, and hopefully you learned something today on Budget Breakers. My goal is to help the world learn more about money, talk about money. So if you learned something, if you want to help America learn more about money, please hit the like and subscribe button. That's the best way to support me, the best way to support this channel, the best way to support America for learning more about finances. We'll see you next time.